Alright, so another video centering around Millicent. Well, this time more specifically it's about her parentage. Now currently nothing is set in stone regarding who her parents are, but we do know she has 4 sisters who likely all share her parentage. Millicent herself claims some sort of relation with Malenia, though she doesn't herself know the specifics of it, saying she could be her daughter, sister, or perhaps a distant offshoot. And those are all possibilities, but for the sake of simplicity, this theory or theories is going to refer to Malenia as the mother of the Swamp Sisters. But it should be noted though that Gowry also refers to Malenia as Millicent's mother. However, he could mean this figuratively just as likely as he could mean it literally. But who then would the father be? And I think it could be marais. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm referring to the guy you find in the field to the left of the shaded castle. Now first off, who is this guy? And what evidence do I have to back this up? Well, the name on his gear indicates that he is the current heir of the Marais family, who are said to be castellans and executioners for the shaded castle, but he isn't exactly held in a high regard, likely due to the current state of the castle, as we see a spirit that says that this is what the Marais family deserves after being bewitched by, quote, that severed harpy, referring of course to the very sad state of affairs going on at the castle, being that it's now manned by what is likely the former residents of its dungeons. And the severed harpy in question is obviously, or most likely, Malenia, as she certainly fits the description. Another interesting note in the description of one of his gear pieces is that it says all of the men in the family are born sickly, and that maleigh was a private follower of the old rot legend, which could be why they have a poison moat due to the servants of rot's affinity for poison. It also says he was beguiled by the beautiful and fierce goddess who was born to the scarlet rot, and his blade, which curiously enough is made from an ant spur, and it also has an innate scarlet rot buildup, likely probably from one of the ants at the halig tree, or the Michaelos halig tree branch. But more importantly, his blade also states that he found his own personal goddess, which is interesting, definitely an interesting choice of words. This, combined with the clean rot knights and the spare unalloyed prosthesis, seems to indicate that Malenia and maleigh were banging, at least to me. There's also a really large portrait of her in the main hall. I've also read some reports that the shaded castle was her seat, and it seems possible that the Marais family was serving as castellans and executioners, not necessarily the lords of the castle, until, Malenia waged war on Caelid and was whisked away to the halig tree. This could be why he's found in the field of ruined statues, having either abandoned his castle or been driven from it by Elmer, the bell-bearing hunter, as Malenia's disappearance and possible death likely broke the man, and being described as sickly is probably incapable of retaking the castle by himself, even with his guardian golem's help. This alleged union between maleigh, who already had sickly genes, and Malenia, who while a demigod and an Empyrean was still afflicted by the scarlet rot even down to her great rune, which itself was half rotted away, could have resulted in the 5 Swamp Sisters, Millicent and co., one of which is a summon for the Commander O'Neill fight, which I just basically the other day found out. At some point, Gowry would then find these sisters and whisk them away so he could raise them to pull off his own ritual of having one of them be reborn as a Scarlet Valkyrie at the cost of the other 4. Some people think that Gowry is like the actual father, but that seems highly unlikely given his nature, being a pest demon of some kind and all that. I mean, until I found out who maleigh was, I myself thought that the Daughters of the Swamp were fragments or pieces of Malenia. In this case, maybe her severed limbs or fingers that were grown and raised by Gowry using his weird pest magic so he could one day replace Malenia with one of them as the rock god's vessel at the cost of the other 4 daughters, like he tells us. Definitely a more left field theory, but we do have a precedent for this type of shit, because there's the Daughters of Manus, who were born from shards of the defeated dark creature that would then grow into some kind of human-like beings that were said to represent one of each of his emotions. Manus is defeated in Dark Souls 1, and then we have to contend with his remnants, which have grown into these humans who have found their way to become queens, and we have to defeat them. I don't know, I always thought it was a cool little aspect about Dark Souls 2's DLCs, despite the hate that the game gets. I also think it's likely that maleigh was driven from his castle by Elmer, who started some kind of a riot a few days before his execution, similar to the NCR correctional facility in New Vegas, which would explain why he's in the company of like a band of heretics and vagabonds and criminals. They're all like seemingly unrelated too. The wraith callers are there, there's depraved perfumers there, Patches is fucking there. There's even some annoying ass basilisks, which were likely imprisoned as well in some kind of a cage or dungeon, as well as the pockets of resistance in the form of the clean rot knights running around and the nobles hiding away in the little rooms. Not much is really known about Elmer other than he was the bell-bearing hunter who murdered a bunch of merchants and was put on trial and sentenced to die, but he managed to escape it and, you know, start the riot I mentioned. He's from a faraway place called like Eocade or Eocade. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but they seem to use like telekinesis on their blades, sort of like the Force, but it says the place is described as long vanished, so it seems to not exist anymore. That vanished is an interesting term. I don't think it like vanished in thin air, but you know, who knows with how things work in these games. The only other example of Eocide or Eocade is this little grave that we find in Limgrave that houses the regalia of the Eocade, which has the same ash of war as the marais family executioner sword, which is said that Elmer put that skill on it basically because he is from Eocade, and he seems to maybe have a relation to maybe Mog, if Mog has to do with the Briars. I know Mog is like the founder of like blood incantations, and I know the Briars are more blood sorcery. I haven't looked much into the Briars, but if so, if there is an affiliation with Mog, that's kind of hilarious that he has one of his guys having taken possibly Malenia's castle seat, and he himself has captured her brother. Then it seems like Mog from behind the scenes is just fucking over anybody who was loyal to her or cared about her. It's kind of fucked, but I mean, maybe she had it coming for nuking Caelid, who knows. But that's basically my theory for my video. Hope you guys liked it, found it informative. If you liked it, please like it. If you disliked it, please dislike it. If you have any alternate theories, please share them in the comments. If I got anything wrong, let me know. I appreciate all the feedback I've been getting. I really didn't expect it, and I can't get enough of it. I really appreciate it, though. I'll be making some more Elden Ring videos. There's a Primal Current one I keep talking about that'll be out in a couple days. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. See ya.